All right, good morning. There were two old ladies who meet up in heaven. Mabel says, "Oh, hi, Wanda." Wanda, "Oh, hi, Mabel. How you doing? How did you die?" She says, "I froze to death." She says, "Oh, how horrible." She says, "You know, it really wasn't that bad. After I quit shaking from the cold, I began to get warm and sleepy and finally died a peaceful death. What about you?" She says, "Oh, I died of a massive heart attack." She said, "Yeah, I suspected my husband was cheating on me, so I came home early to catch him in the act, but instead I found him all alone in the den watching TV, just by himself there." "Well, what happened?" She says, "Well, I was just so worked up. I was so sure that there was another woman. I ran upstairs into the attic and looked all over the attic. Then I went all the way downstairs into the basement and I looked everywhere in the basement. I checked all the closets. I looked under the bed. I looked into the garage. And I was just so certain. I was so certain. I got so worked up that I just had a heart attack and keeled over and died." Mabel says, "Gee, that's too bad. Well, just let me say, we'd both be alive if you just looked in the freezer." So, I want to ask you, start with a question. What's the first thought you have when you wake up in the morning? You know, yeah, look in the freezer. Excellent. Good choice. Good choice. You know? So it was really over 100 years ago when Ernest Holmes started to give this teaching about change your thinking and you would change your life. So it sounds really easy, doesn't it? It sounds so simple. Oh my God, just change your thinking and you'll change your life. Well, it's work. As those of us who've tried to do this know, this is really, really work. And so it really starts when your alarm, or however it is you wake up. Maybe you have a cat that climbs on your head that wants to be fed, or a dog that jumps on top of you, or there's some noise that a person next to you is making, and that's what wakes you up. But when the alarm, let's just say, when the alarm goes off, what's the first thought you have? See, I think it's really great that you and I get to choose those thoughts. That it could be, and this is what so many people say, "Oh, good God, morning." Right? If I can just get through this week and make it to Friday night, I can enjoy myself for about 48 hours. Oh, good God, another morning. Or, "Good morning, God. Good morning, God. Thank you for a new day." My father used to say any day above ground was a good day. So I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go with that. You know, in the science of mind, we teach that you become what you think about. Your thoughts largely control and shape and evolve your life. Now, it's not the occasional weird thought that everybody has. Ernest says in the textbook that it is the general tendency of our thinking. So where we go again and again and again in our thinking, we could ask ourselves, wow, is this really what I want to manifest? Is this what I want to tell the universe? This is what I'm about? Is this what I want to say to God? Bring it on. I want more of this. That's why I'm thinking about it all the time. See, it would be enormously helpful if we controlled our mental focus, if we directed it intelligently. In Living the Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes says that consciously directed feeling is intelligent creation. All right? So how we can be about the business of creating our life in an intelligent way is by thinking about, or what am I thinking? What am I feeling right now? Because this is going to, absolutely surely, going to produce some kind of result in my life. See, I think a key to mastery in this area is for us to all consider asking better questions. And certainly to ask the right kind of questions. See, because I believe that our joy, our peace of mind, our happiness, our abundant expression and success in life have the most to do with the most important conversation we ever enter into. And that most important conversation that we are all engaged in is the one that's right here in our own head. That's the most important conversation. Not what somebody says to you or what you say. It's what you say to you all day long. All day long we think, right? They say we have like upwards of 50,000 thoughts a day. 50,000. That's a lot of thoughts. Now, we think questions. This is how it works for me anyway, so I'm assuming it works similarly for you. That we think questions in our head, and then we think the answers in our head, right? And it just kind of goes along that way. So we can create a better day for ourselves by actually asking better questions of a higher order, questions that empower us, questions that lift us up and make us more. So, I love this book by Napoleon Hill. It came out 1,000,000 years ago called Think and Grow Rich. I know many of you have read it. I've used it in abundance workshops. And right in the beginning of the book, he says, you become what you think about. That's not news to us in Science of Mind. We've all heard that again and again. And Jesus said, as you believe, so it shall be done unto you. Right? As you believe, so it is done unto you. And if that one doesn't float your boat, here's Marcus Aurelius, okay? Ancient Greece. A man's life is what his thoughts make of it. Your life is what your thoughts make of it. So if you leave with nothing else today, know this. My thoughts are controlling my life. Really, honest to God, it's absolutely true. My thoughts are controlling, shaping, forming my life right now. So how do we control our thoughts? This is really interesting for us. How do we do this? So first of all, know right now that you choose and I choose what we focus on every day. We are choosing what we focus on. You can focus on the haystack or you can focus on the needle. We all know these people who go through life and not only is the glass half empty, it's cracked and leaking, right? For them. No matter what, the glass is half empty and the water's going down, it's going down, it's not enough, it never will be, right? And then there are those people who the glass is always full and they're sure there's going to be rain, it's going to fill up and overflow, right? So the questions I ask myself are the other piece. What do I choose to focus on? And what are the questions that are going on here that I'm asking myself? See, because I think my questions control or at least influence the thoughts that I'm going to continue to have. I have to consistently control my thoughts to ask the right questions in order to get the results that I would like to experience in my life. So if I believe, and I do, that my thoughts control my life, my questions are what influence my thoughts. Right? So what kind of questions do we ask ourselves on a daily basis? I think they fall into two categories. I think one category is we ask ourselves disempowering questions, and the other one is that we can ask ourselves empowering questions. So disempowering questions. What is wrong with me? Why do things never work out for me? Why don't I ever have enough? Why am I alone? Where is the money? Those are really disempowering questions. All right, so what are empowering questions? An empowering question is, what's one thing I can do today to feel like I'm more abundant? That's an empowering question. What's one thing I could do today that would make a deposit in the bank account of my most important relationships? What's one thing I could do today that would brighten the day of somebody that I work with, all right? Now, I know these seem small, but when these become part of our way of life, these kinds of questions absolutely make a difference for us. See, the only thing I think we have real control over is our thoughts, right? That is what enables us to control our destiny. But we have no hope or a prayer of being a co-creator with God in our destiny if we don't take charge of what's going on in here. So your early morning, the alarm goes off, whatever that is for you, 4 a.m. for some of us, 10:30 for others, doesn't matter. Your early a.m. is a really important time of day because the first thoughts you have in the morning when you wake up, I'm telling you, these are enormously important. That first half hour is a critical time for imprinting your subconscious mind with the way you want your day to be, with the way you want the universe to respond to you. So people say to me, well, I just can't help what I think. I just have these thoughts. Well, If you can't control what you think, if you can't be in charge and self-correct your thoughts, then we have big trouble. We have big trouble. Maybe you can relate to that idea that, well, I just have these thoughts, they just show up in my head. But let me help you. Here are some things that I think we absolutely could do. This is not my list. I found this in my notes. I don't know where it came from. I'm sorry. But I always take notes. It helps me stay present. So when I go to something. So the alarm goes off. First thing, what am I grateful for today? Or what's a blessing in my life? Before your little feet even go into your slippers, what is a blessing in my life today? What blessings can I count? What's good? Now, next thing, right? Because, sometimes the alarm goes off and you lay there for a minute, right? What am I happy and joyful about? And what makes me laugh? What am I happy and joyful about? And what makes me laugh? Who do I love and care about in my life? And who loves and cares about me? Who do I love and care about in my life? And who loves and cares about me? Next one. What am I really passionate about in life? What am I really passionate about in life? And what gives me a sense of purpose and well-being? What gives me a sense of purpose and well-being? Now, I know you may not have an answer to all of these questions yet, but you won't get an answer until you start asking. Right? And so you say, well, I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what makes me well-being. I don't know what can I be passionate about in life. Great. You've got to start to ask the question and then be open. So starting with number one, thank you, God, for... we talk about this all the time, that being grateful, gratitude is the anointing of increase. So when you're a grateful customer in the universe says, here, let's give him more to be grateful about, right? Whereas if you are the way many people seem to wake up, another day to get through, if that's your attitude, it's really, just know this, okay? I'm not saying you're wrong, bad, or an awful person. I know you're not. But just know that if you get up with that kind of oh God, another day to get through, it's really difficult for the universe to bring you anything good. You're making it really hard because you're the one who's throwing up those obstacles. Right? So I'm inviting you to wake up this week with, it's great to be alive. Thank you, God, for another day. And whatever else you can do to add to that. And then I want you to notice how it makes you feel. You know what this is like? This is like if you look at the mirror, just look in the mirror just before you're about to leave the house, and you look in the mirror and you go, oh, God. That's the kind of day you have, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely. But if you look in the mirror and say, well, okay, this works. This is pretty good. I'm going to pull it off. Or even better, like, hey, you got it going on, Even better. You will find that that's more of the day that you have. That's what people reflect back to you, right? So, your subconscious mind is so impressionable during those first 30 minutes in the morning. And I know, so it's the perfect time to affirm a greater spiritual truth about yourself and your life and your health and your relationship and your career. I know people saying, oh, nobody does that. I just want to get coffee in me. I just need coffee, And then to read the paper quietly and not be bothered for the first hour I'm up. All right, well, you know what? If you do, and I know a lot of people do that, and that's fine. But I just have to tell you that if you do what everybody does, you're going to get what everybody else has gotten. Now, is that okay for you? Are you happy with that? If you're satisfied with that, great, we'll move on. But I'm suggesting that you do something different if you want to have a different result, right? Do you have your goals written down? Now, I've been a goal person since I got on the personal development, spiritual growth, and enlightenment path. So a really long time. And I write down my goals, and I hope you do. I'm just a really big believer in this. I think you should carry them around with you. When you're standing in line, you take them out of your wallet and read them. So here. Yale University, 1953. They did this big study. The graduating class of 1953, 3% of the people in the graduating class at Yale University wrote down their goals. Speed ahead, 20 years later, right? That 3%, that exact 3% were worth more than the other 97% combined. Yeah, I know that got my attention. Isn't that something? I mean, that's a lot of bang for your buck. for very little effort, just writing down your goals. And so I think, well, why don't people want to write down their goals? Why don't people? Well, people don't want to do it because they get overwhelmed. Or they say, oh, I just don't know. I have so many goals, this or that. Or maybe they're just lazy about being an active co-creator in their own life experience. But if you don't take the helm here, if you don't take charge, there are plenty of other people on the face of the planet, and they will do the thinking for you. But what I can tell you is the thinking they will do will be in their highest good, not yours. So when you wonder why, like, gee, why is it all passing me by? This is why. This is why. Other people are doing the thinking for you, and you're just kind of coasting along for the ride. So I think goals give you a direction, and I think that's really important. In the science of mind, we teach you have to be definite with the infinite. Right? You don't just go to a restaurant and say, bring me food, because you might just get a big bowl of mushy peas or something like that, and everybody else is having like great stuff. Right? So goals give you get direction from your goals. I think direction gives us a sense of purpose. When we know what we're working toward, when we know where we're headed, I love that feeling of having a sense of purpose, because purpose gives me a feeling of well-being in my world. I'm moving toward my purpose. Now, I think with all our goals, and I think you should have them for all the major areas of your life, you should have a goal for your health, and you should have a goal for your loving relationships, and you should have a goal for your finances, and for your creative expression and your spiritual growth. I think you should have goals for all of those areas. You want to have an affirmation for each goal or for each area of your life. So say I'm looking at my goal for health and well-being. And say, I'm healthy and happy in every area of my life. It doesn't have to be complicated. It's better. I think we remember it better if we just keep it really simple. Because again, we're talking to ourselves all day long. And is what we're saying worth manifesting? Because we are, in fact, manifesting something. Right? We're all going to create something. So I think you say your affirmations for each goal. I think you have to visualize your affirmations as well, because, your mind's eye is very, very powerful. So if you sit for a minute and you just go through each goal and you close your eyes and you see yourself really, really healthy, doing what you want to do. You see yourself happy, or you see yourself in a loving relationship. And the third one, I don't know if this is a word or not, but I think we have to emotionalize, bring your emotions into your affirmation by asking, how does this make me feel? All right, so if I'm not in a relationship, but what I want is a relationship, and so I affirm relationship, I visualize relationship, how does being in a relationship make me feel? Think about that, because remember, Ernest Holmes said, consciously directed feeling is intelligent creation. All right, so this is part of how we create. How does it make me feel? So you want to speak it, you want to see it, you want to feel it. All of those things are part of how the science of mind works. Right? It's not just, you say something one time and let it go. I mean, maybe you are that powerful. But my experience is that consciousness tends to change incrementally, which is why we do a spiritual practice. We don't just pray once and say, okay, well, that was it. I prayed. I don't need to pray again this life. It's like, no, I just prayed a couple of minutes ago. Oh, I'm going down the garden trail. I need to pray again. So the things I would love to see us start to incorporate that I think would really make a difference is if when you wake up first thing, be grateful. Be grateful. The universe loves a satisfied customer. It does. It does. It says, oh my God, they're so happy with what they got. Let's give them more to be happy about. Right? But think about it. An ungrateful customer. No. Have an affirmation for the different areas of your life where you have a goal, like your health, your relationships, your prosperity and abundance. And the last thing I think we could ask ourselves before our feet hit the floor is I'm just looking for one thing here, just one thing. What's the most important thing for me to accomplish today? I know everybody's got pages and pages of things we need to do, but that just overwhelms us. That just sends me to the sofa with a package of Pepperidge Farm. It's too much. It's too much. So what I need to do is what's the one thing I absolutely need to accomplish today? And then to tell myself, yeah, I can do that. I have everything it takes to do that. I have everything it takes within me right now. Let's pray. So we turn our attention inward, recognizing that right here where we are, the fullness and the allness of God, God's infinite loving spirit is present within and around and through each and every one of us. I know the truth is that we are all emanations of the Most High God, and that we are blessed to be together in consciousness today. And so I speak this word for each and every one of us, that we are setting out on a new path right now, starting with waking up each morning and being grateful for the day, being grateful for the unseen good that is coming our way. I know that this is just planting seeds in the soil of the infinite mind, and we're declaring our willingness to reap an abundant harvest. So we include in our prayer today our family members, our friends and loved ones. We know that right where they are, God is fully present, that they are surrounded and filled with infinite love and infinite intelligence. We let our prayer be a blessing in the world around us. So all of those things that pull at our attention, all of those situations in the world, we say God is present even right there. Even in the midst of that, there is peace, there is love, there is harmony, there's all needs met. God is truly, truly on the job, just waiting our recognition, our awareness of it. And so we bless our church, we bless all churches, we bless synagogues and temples and mosques and ashrams, all paths to God. And I'm certain that we are blessed by being together, that we all get raised up. And so with a full heart, I give thanks that this is so. I release this word, and so it is. Together we all say, Amen.